Welcome to this video reflection of the creation of GIS for your business. GIS is an acronym for a Geographic Information System, which businesses have started to use in order to visualize and interpret data in many ways that reveal relationships, patterns, and trends in the form of maps. This course is created for decision makers and business analysts who want to explore the possibility of using business mapping and GIS techniques to improve the performance of their business. Investing in a GIS system is a major undertaking for many businesses, particularly small businesses. This course answers a need to know how industries currently use GIS, how participants can use GIS to drive their businesses, and what to think about when considering a GIS for their business. There are many GIS products out there, and this class doesn't sell any of them. All hands-on work is done in Google Maps, and data are small sample data sets. Businesses with large-scale projects and sensitive data will want to purchase a GIS, and by the end of this class, they will know what kind of planning goes into using a GIS and what capabilities they require. This is an online class, and it spans 6 weeks. Each week will examine a different aspect of using GIS for your business. We'll use the week or so after registration ends and before the class actually begins for introductions, community building, setting expectations, and setting communication standards. Then we'll hop right into familiarizing learners with GIS and what it's used for by businesses, choosing data and data sources, and we'll explore different ways to display data on point and area locations. And then finally, we'll get into the specifics of their business, whether it's retail applications or territory management applications. Even the most savvy business person is a rookie when it comes to making business maps. It's amazing to me how many people during introductions will tell me how much they love maps and how when they were a kid they were the navigator for their family on vacations and so forth. Now they're the navigator for their business, and they approach it with the same enthusiasm as a kid on a family vacation. They want to dive right in and start pumping maps out of the computer, and that's great. I want to harness that enthusiasm and scaffold them into hands-on mapping so that they don't end up frustrated and disillusioned. One of the most valuable tools I'm taking away from the class is Donaldson and Conrad's Phases of Engagement. In a class like GIS for your business, in which somewhat technical assignments are given, learners have to have a community and an instructor that they can reach out to if they have questions, challenges, or even just ideas that they want to bounce off of each other. I've always heard how important it is to build community in online classes, but saying it isn't doing it. This model will help me incorporate community building into my classes gradually so that it doesn't feel forced and artificial. I've had some great group experiences, both online and in my face-to-face classes, and I want to provide that to my students. I incorporated several community building activities for newcomers into Week 0 and Week 1. I assigned a Phase 2 cooperator dyad in Week 3, and in Week 4 I had them do an activity individually that used skills they learned collaboratively in the dyad. At the end of the course, I incorporated a Phase 3 collaborator activity in which groups of 3 or 4 collaborated using their business experience and what they have learned in class to create an approach to a challenge faced in a case study. In the Phase 3 collaborator activity, I drew on the adult learning theory from 602 and gave my adult learners choices, first about who they would collaborate with, and then also about which case study they would work on. In creating activities, I found this text, 75 E-Learning Activities by Ryan Watkins, very helpful. This was a recommended text when I took 653, and it's full of activities. One that I used from it was the creation of a wiki space for learners where they could post a picture of something that interested them, write their name next to the image, and if they wanted to, tell us something about the image. I also asked them to comment on a few of their classmates' images. This is a Phase 1 engagement activity that helps promote community building. It's called A Picture is Worth 1,000 Words. This text is full of great ideas that contribute to every phase of engagement. When it comes to assigning a hands-on GIS project, for example, asking learners to geocode a file of addresses and show them on a Google map, I employed Bandura's recommended mastery modeling to enhance self-efficacy. While geocoding might sound intimidating, it's really just uploading a file of addresses into Google Maps and letting Google set a place marker at each address. I made a video of me uploading the same file that they will load and showing the resulting map. They can watch me do it as many times as they want, and then they can try it themselves, knowing what the results should look like. Beyond the specific techniques I've employed, I have a much better concept of the time it takes to build an online class well up front, finding good resources, creating digital content, and trying to answer as many questions for learners as possible before they get to ask them. Learners might come to an online class feeling unsure about the online environment and might seek answers about the smallest details. I'd like to give them enough at the start to gauge accurately what will be expected and how they should approach the class in order to be successful. And I'd like the class to have, as they say, something for everyone. Universal Design for Learning guidelines will help me advocate for what I've always felt should happen in a good learning environment. Although I've had them modeled in face-to-face and online classes, I had not always been aware of the guidelines themselves. In my final project, I incorporated lecture videos, readings, and hands-on activities to try and meet the needs of every learner. I think that by following UDL guidelines more closely in the future, I could improve upon the quality of my instruction. UDL is a huge takeaway for me. Another great takeaway is the information about finding the right balance of instructor-learner interaction. I've been reading this semester, in research for my evidence-based research class, about how interaction, specifically instructor-learner interaction, affects online distance learner satisfaction. Long story short, it affects it a great deal. The frequency, timeliness, and quality of instructor-learner interaction correlate highly with learner satisfaction, and that means that not only is upfront work required by us, the designers, but constant watchfulness is required during the class by the facilitator. That includes watching and not always interjecting a comment. For an idea of how much unscheduled time teaching online requires, I took a look at how many questions had been posed to my online course instructors during this semester, and the number was eye-popping. Not all of them took a great deal of time to answer, but cumulatively, the time was significant. Even when an instructor plans the class with a meticulous level of detail, flexibility will be key once the class begins. Bending the schedule to meet the needs of learners, focusing more time on a subject that's relevant to everyone in a particular class, sharing new information that affects the group. Flexibility can improve the online experience for everyone involved. I've learned a great deal this semester and put many of the theories and practices that I've learned in this and other classes to work in this project. My hope is that my students will emerge from my classes with a strong sense of self-efficacy and a supportive community with them. If they have that, a good business plan, and a sense of humor, they'll most certainly have success.